Hello, good evening. It's 7 o'clock. Welcome to News Tonight with me, Nana Abba Anamwa.
And my name is Kweku Temen. It's always a delight joining you in the evening with the latest updates of news we have for you on the local front.
Coming up are the headlines for tonight. Tonight, former Defense Minister Dr. Benjamin Kumbwa calls for early Congress in the opposition NDC. He blames the party's electoral defeat on perception of corruption. Tonight we'll bring you an exclusive interview.
Officials who knew clearly that if nothing was done about those laws, we could lose the elections. So there were already indications, and you see the priority that government put on it.
Take you to the Ashanti region tonight, where it is not food poisoning that killed the Kumasi Academy students. It is meningitis. We'll delve tonight into the latest disclosure on the death of the 4 students of the school.
Also, 354 people die in road crashes in the first 2 months of the year, comparatively higher than the first quarter of 2016. Tonight we'll get to some updates from our world of business, and here we'll find out why only 2% of the Ghanaian population have insurance cover. In international news, Nigerian president launches economic recovery and growth plan aimed at bringing Africa's most populous nation out of recession. A group calling itself the Cadres of the National Democratic Congress is calling for an early Congress to save the NDC from itself. Speaking to GHOne News, former Defense Minister Dr. Kumbwa says that there should be an early Congress, and an early Congress is the only way to forestall the despondency that has characterized the party.
Definitely, corruption had always come up at almost every point in time, because as colleagues who were ministers, and I have had an opportunity at a meeting with the diplomatic corps, and I drew their attention to the level of unfairness of this corruption, because anybody who is corrupt has a name. So the clean brush that you use to apply to government, and for that matter, anybody associated with government, was wrong. I would be very happy for somebody to would say, Minister A, B, C, D, Z are corrupt. This is the evidence. You see, when the conversation is at that level, the person, apart from not being sincere in terms of the allegation, is also giving the people he's accusing the opportunity to take whatever remedies that are available to them.
All right, so we'll bring you an extensive interview with Dr. Benjamin Kumbwa at 8 o'clock on State of Affairs. In the meantime, let's go through the statement received from this group calling itself the Cadres of the NDC, and it was because of that statement Dr. Kumbwa was in our studios earlier today. So let's take a look at that statement now. Okay, so basically they are blaming the NDC's unprecedented defeat on corruption. They say that the current NDC leadership has been dumbfounded after the embarrassing loss of the 2016 elections. There is anger and bitterness among members following that defeat. They continue to add and also call for an early Congress, a call Dr. Kumbwa associates himself with. They also talk about a fraudulent party register that must be replaced before their Congress, a fraudulent register. Also, they say that about 1 million of their own people who voted for the NDC in 2012 felt excluded, alienated, disillusioned, and abandoned by the party. Therefore, they decided to sit on the fence. Of course, it's the reason in areas like the Volta region, we saw a very low voter turnout. So this, all the things you're seeing on your screen, the information on your screen right now, came from the statement from the cadres of the NDC. And of course, Dr. Benjamin Kumbwa has been speaking to that particular press statement, and he actually associated himself with a lot of the things contained in that statement. Okay, so we'll go further The group claims that the key operatives became businessmen and women with business proposals in their armpits as a pastime and therefore lacked the zeal and focus to drive a successful election. Of course, if you watch State of Affairs tonight, Dr. Kumbo talks about the perception of corruption and arrogance. They continued that yet others were bankrupt of new ideas, while some appointees demonstrated arrogance, showed vulgar opulence and self-conceitedness in the midst of poverty and social deprivation. And of course, Dr. Kumbo on that particular one also talks about the humongous giant billboards, the humongous billboards we saw in the run-up to the elections being mounted by the NDC. Let's now go to the phone and talk to Dr. Kwesi GHOne. He's a senior research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, also known as IDEC. He's actually joining us live from his office. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Kwesi GHOne. Now, I spoke to Dr. Kumbo earlier, and we'll be playing that interview on State of Affairs in some minutes to come at 8 o'clock. But also, he came in here because of the statement from the group calling itself cadres of the NDC and basically calling for an early Congress. Is that what will save the NDC, as they put it, from itself? If you can hear me, Dr. Kwesi GHOne, I'll repeat that question once again. Okay, yeah. You can go on. I think you heard me.
No, your question again.
Okay, so basically I'm saying that there's a group calling itself the cadres of the NDC who believe that there is some despondency in the grassroots of the party and are calling for an early Congress. And we have a big gun of the party, Dr. Benjamin Kombo, who was a defense minister in the previous administration, also associating himself with that statement. Do you feel or do you believe that an early Congress is what will save the NDC from the cracks we are seeing?
Thank you so very much. Since the NDC suffered this very comprehensive defeat at the hands of the NPP, different kinds of groups have sprung up within the party, each of them putting forward a different explanation for this kind of humiliating defeat. And what Dr. Kumbo and his group have just said is one of these explanations. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through all of them before we come to answer the question whether an early Congress will be helpful to the party or not. 4 major person-centered explanations have been given. There are those who say that the defeat of the NDC should be blamed on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and his family, his brothers, his wife, and so on and so forth. They caused the defeat of the party. Now, according to those who hold this view, President Mahama gave so many contracts to his brothers and even gave the contract for the printing of NDC campaign t-shirts to his wife, Lordina Mahama. They also blame him of incompetence, and they also blame him for giving money to so many groups outside the party, celebrities for Mahama, girls for Mahama, and so on and so forth. And so they blame His Excellency John Dramani Mahama directly for the defeat of the party. Now, for every interpretation, there is a motive. And so those who argue that the defeat of the party should be blamed on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama are actually telling us, don't consider this guy for any other election again. Then we have those who blame the executives of the party, the chairman, the general secretary, the regional executives, and sometimes also the constituency executives for the defeat of the party. according to this group of people, the party was defeated because of the arrogance and the corruption of these executives. Again, the motive behind this is that sack the executives and go for an early Congress. We can't wait. They caused the downfall of the party. So let us get them out as quickly as possible. And then we have those who say that the party was defeated because of another person, His Excellency GHOne Rawlings, the founder of the party. According to this group of explanation, it is because His Excellency GHOne Rawlings was sidelined and marginalized, not only in the campaign, but in the general management of the party, that they lost the election. The motive behind this kind of explanation is that if you want the NDC to bounce back, then bring GHOne Rawlings into the center of affairs in the party. Now, this latest explanation that Mr. Ben Kumbo and his group have put forward, if you analyze it very carefully, it looks very different from these person-centered explanations. They are saying that the party over the years has deviated from the original principles, probity and accountability, on which the party was founded. And so, if we want the NDC to become once again acceptable to the rank and file of party members, then we should go back to those principles. The corruption, taking care of business people, and so on and so forth, instead of the grassroots. Let's go back to the original principles of the party. Now, for me, even though this explanation being put forward by Mr. Ben Kumbo and his group will appear to be very ideological and very different from the person-centered explanations, actually, if you analyze it very deeply, it is simply another version of the person-centered explanations, because the founder of the party, His Excellency GHOne Rawlings, is the person who has been articulating these principles of probity and accountability. And so indirectly, they are saying that let us restore the place of GHOne Rawlings, and then we will go back to those principles of probity and accountability that made the party great.
Okay.
So this is it. So going to an early Congress will favor those who want to get rid of General Secretary, Chairman, Regional Chairman, and even the President, who people are saying should stand again.
Okay. Now, there's also the question of who leads the party in 2010, because whether they go to Congress or not, that's a decision they have to make.
Indeed.
But of course, if you listen to the discussion that has been going on, there are some who think that bringing back President John Mahama is what will definitely bring them back to power. There are also some who think that it will be suicidal to bring him back because of what he garnered at the polls in the 2016 elections. Should that conversation be going on even at this particular moment, as they do not even know what the Kosiboche report contains?
I simply do not think that this is the kind of conversation that should be going on within the party. You already have set up a 13-member election review committee under the chairmanship of Professor Kosiboche. The party has been struggling to work very hard, even sometimes at the very peril of the lives of the members. I think the party should patiently wait for the committee to complete its work and put its report before them before they begin to think about who will even lead the party into the 2020 elections.
Is the patience or is the long wait not increasing the despondency in the grassroots?
Why is it a long wait? This is a committee that was set up early in this year. It's not going to take 6 months, it's not going to take a year. I'm sure that it's only a matter of weeks and the report will be out.
All right.
So why can't people wait?
Okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Kwesi Jonah was speaking to us from his office in East Legon, and of course, he's a senior research fellow at IDEC.
Let's still stay on the NDC some more as the perceived cracks within the opposition NDC deepens. Former rector of GIMPA, Professor Stephen Adai, is blaming the NDC's defeat on what he describes as the poor leadership skills of ex-President Mahama. And the former GIMPA rector insists ex-President Mahama's had no single experience in the presidency, adding that the quality of leadership in Ghana's Fourth Republic dropped significantly under President Mahama.
The first time in our history under the Fourth Republic to have had such a massive defeat means that the Ghanaians were not happy with it. So let's put it over. And I'm glad I said this 2 months before the 7th December 2016 that Akufo-Addo and Indum will offer better leadership for Ghana than Mahama, which of course they took me to the laundry. But I wanted to say it before the election because the tendency is people to say that now there's a change in the government, and I gave my reasons. Mahama had no record of leadership before he became a leader by default.
Not even when he was a member of parliament, not even when he was a minister for communication.
What did he do to tell me anything that you can remember was an achievement of Mahama?
Are those not leadership positions? I mean, it's like saying that if you haven't gone to president, then you can't be a leader.
No. I haven't talked about the position. Leadership achievements. Position, even you can be a president and still not have leadership qualities, and then we all suffer for it. Position, authority, and other things gives you an opportunity to exercise leadership, but by itself doesn't make you a leader. We confuse leadership, which is functional one, with, and I said that his background, he's better than average Ghanaian, because after all, the average Ghanaian is semi-illiterate.
In other stories now, minority members of the Appointments Committee of Parliament boycotted proceedings earlier today. GHOne News has gathered the decision follows failure of Parliament to agree with the proposed adjournment date.
Last Friday, Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu cautioned the committee will not sit beyond today. However, a directive from the President to vet all the 54 appointees forced the House to extend sitting to the disapproval of the minority. A minority member of the committee, Samuel Kujetua-Blakwa, explained to GHOne News vetting ought to have ended yesterday. According to him, the minority will not be stampeded into doing a shoddy job given the limited time.
At the end of the day, the image of Parliament is at stake. The whole public is watching. The Appointments Committee sits publicly. If we just do a hush-hush job, just rush things, do a shoddy exercise of our mandate, and then information emerges later that we have not been thorough and we have not carried out our mandate properly, the Appointments Committee will be embarrassed. But this House.
Meanwhile, leadership of the majority has come under attack for succumbing to the control of the executive. Deputy Minority Leader James Oveji believes but for the directive from the President to wait for the vetting of all nominees for approval before the House breaks, the House would have risen today. Speaking to GHOne News after proceedings, the Ketu North lawmaker accused the majority leadership of wasting time and resources of MPs.
Parliament is a body on its own, who has its own way, rules that govern us, our activities. We have a timetable that we follow all the time. We should have gone on recess by last week Friday. But we have tolerated to add another one way because of the pressure coming from the government. Shouldn't have been the case, because we don't want a situation where Parliament should always be controlled by the executive.
Deputy Majority Chief Whip Matthew Nyedam, however, disagrees. According to him, the House has other important outstanding matters to clear before rising.
Where are the ministers coming from? They are coming from the presidency. Most of the business that we do in this house is from the executives. The bills that we approve in this house, we go through them, they are from the executives. So members of parliament are supposed to do the work that emanates from the executives. So no one should think that there is an invisible hand that is pushing somebody to do one thing or the other. In any case, when the president appointed his ministers and deputy ministers, the list was brought here. It is now our responsibility as a house to approve them.
His assertion is, however, rejected by Bolsa South MP, Dr. Clement Park, who believes MPs deserve a rest and therefore the outstanding matters could be addressed after the break.
Away from Parliament, let's now move to the Ashanti region, where the Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, has identified meningitis as the cause of death of the Kumasi Academy students. Well, the death of the students last week was largely attributed to food poisoning, causing panic among students. Although authorities will not make the report public, they insist CSM caused the death of the students.
The report indicates that a total of 26 suspect cases of meningitis have been identified between 22nd March and 31st March in the Ashanti region, with 4 deaths being the students of the Kumasi Academy. The report also clarifies that while the students may have died of a similar cause, the deaths occurred at different health facilities at different times in the region and not in the school as reported. The team of investigators drawn from the health service and the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital performed autopsy on 3 of the students to arrive at its conclusions, although the authorities declined to make the report public. Consequently, the report suggests ways of dealing with any form of recurrence. As part of the measures, it recommends massive public awareness and designation of hospitals for all senior high schools.
All right, we'll go to the phone now and talk to the Metro Health Director of the Ashanti region, Dr. Kwesi Yeboah-Ewusi. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Yeboah-Ewusi. So, can you confirm that indeed it was a case of meningitis and not food poisoning at the Kumasi Academy?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. Yes, before then, let me correct the designation. I'm not the Metro Director of Kumasi. I am the Deputy Director of Public Health for Ashanti Region.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, truly, we've confirmed that it was meningitis and not food poisoning. We had 3 of the, among the 4 dead bodies, 3 of them, 1 had been buried, so we couldn't get. But all the 3 had the signs from the autopsy to be meningitis. And then we also took some sample of the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, which normally, if they were not dead, you could have got some growth from it. But we did some typing and we have got that it is a positive for area meningitis. So it is confirmed that it is meningitis.
Okay, now the students have clearly refused to go back to school. So whether it was a case of food poisoning, now you confirm that it was meningitis. How is the health directorate going to ensure that children or the students are able to go back to complete the academic work and write their exams? Is there any plan for that?
Actually, I don't know who gave you the information that children are not in school. Those TV cameras who were there really took pictures of the students who were in classes. Some mothers and some parents took their children home. So that one is true. But as at now, I would say about 60% of the students are in school.
What percent? I'm sorry, Doctor. Sorry, Doctor. What percentage did you give? What percentage of students
I am saying that what I saw today. Today we went to do the press preview in the school. Mm-hmm. And I could see that close to 60%, that is my estimation, were in school. But let me say that we did not say they should go home. It is the parents who were afraid. So now that everything has come out, they are going to hear the news and they will just report back. But some have already started coming back with the assurance that they are safe.
All right. Now, if you can educate us on meningitis, how does it spread? How safe are the rest of the students' body?
Okay, meningitis is caused by various organisms. Some are bacteria, some are viruses, and sometimes fungi. Of course, it is the bacteria which is very, very much we are afraid of it because that is what really causes fatality. Most of the time, the various bacteria that causes it, most of them, they are even in our body, in our throat, in our nostrils, and the rest, but it is the harsh conditions of the weather which make them very, very virulent. In other words, when the weather becomes very dry and hot, you can bear with me that sometimes, even when you blow your nose, you see some streaks of blood. So it makes the blood vessels very fragile, and then they break in. So when the blood vessels get damaged like that, then the bacteria is able to enter the blood system, and then they enter and then they go into the brain. So that is how they enter. So the common ones which are harbored in our throats, they cause most of the time the pharyngitis and the rest and the otitis in the ears. They are the ones who when they get a chance into the blood vessels, then they enter. So dryness in the weather, making the people very dry, those are the conditions which promote it. And then because they are mostly in the throat, when people sneeze or cough, it is then the droplets which come, they are harbored in it. But in most of the time, unless there are some form of trauma or something in the blood vessels, they are around. So most of the people, you could see that the cases in the place, we have 4 people who died. They were not in the same room. Two houses. One house had 3 of them, and one house 1 of them. And then where we had the 3 of them, they were in 3 different dormitories, or you can call it rooms, which contains about 40 people in a room, each one of them. So 3 different rooms separately, and that is it. So it is not something you can just get because you just sat near somebody easily.
Okay, so the students are safe. That's basically what you're saying, that the students are safe despite the deaths.
That actually, the truth is that we were, you know that at first we really were always talking about meningitis in the upper east, upper west, north. Why? Because of the heat over there. But because of climate change, you can agree with me that now the heat has come down. So we are saying that the chances that we can see more cases of meningitis in general is high. So people should be alert. The key thing is that we have treatment, and once you see the symptoms and you go to hospital early, you are sure to be safe. In fact, out of the number you could see in the report, apart from these 4 who are dead, majority of them have been treated and discharged.
Okay.
And then, as I told you yesterday, I think about 3 of them were on admission, but they were doing well. So it is not something that we have encouraged them that they should encourage ventilation so that the rooms which are crowded, they should remove some beds from the middle of the hall, the rooms, so that the ventilation will be fine.
All right.
And then they should take in more fluids, all of us, not only the students. Generally, I will encourage our people to take in more fluids so that they don't be vulnerable.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Kwesi Ewuzi. I'm afraid I have to leave it there. Now, let's do our very last interview before we go away. Briefly, let's talk to Cassandra Truman-Pofor. She speaks for the Ghana Education Service in the Ashanti region. Thank you for staying on the line, Cassandra. Now we understand exactly what the cause of death was. It was meningitis, as confirmed by Dr. Ewuzi. Now, he says about 60% of the student population is in school. How are you getting the 40%? If that statistic is right in your book?
Oh, thank you, Nana. Good evening to your viewers. I would even say that the number of students on campus are even more than 60%. Today, We have a number of them in the classrooms. In fact, last weekend they were afraid, so the parents came for their awards. GES didn't officially close down Kumaka. Neither did we also ask them to go home. Since that the parents were afraid, so they came for their awards, and upon calling on them, they brought them back. And so they were even more, to me, I would even say that's more than the 50% doctor talked about. And so we are hoping, because they knew they would be writing exams today, well, they were all around.
Right. Thank you very much, Cassandra Chum Ampofo, PRO for the Ghana Education Service in the Ashanti region. Right, you're watching News Tonight on GH1 News.
If the news would break, definitely you would get every bit of the details here. After this break, we're coming back with more. To stay.
Runway 19 right, clear for takeoff.
There will never be another night like this in 2017. A taste of glitz, glam, style, and the very best in showmanship.
The best songs in GH, the hottest and most commanding acts, the speeches, the fashion, and all the razzmatazz rolling to one night of unforgettable entertainment. The Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, Saturday 8th April at the Conference Center. It's an all-star cast night with Stoneball, Sarkodie, Manifest, Ear, Kofi Kinata, Medical, Nasi, Becca, Adena, Aquabwa, plus Rocktown from Nigeria. Tickets selling now at 150 Ghana Cedis Standard and 200 Ghana Cedis Premium.
From Vodafone offices in Osu, Accra Mall, X-Men, and Charter House.
For VIP tickets, please call 050-129-0939. The 18th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, celebrating 60 years of GH music with support from Das Capital, GH1 TV, and proudly brought to you by
Vodafone, power to you.
Hello there, and you're most welcome to television's best experience.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back.
This is beautiful.
Even while we sleep.
I really want you to come go with me on this exciting journey.
Say how they come, when they say how they go, when they see me out of town, when they see me for my hood.
It's fun, it's insightful, it's exclusive. This is Revealed. My name is Bolare, and this is my show.
Revealed with Bolare, proudly brought to you by Bel Air Rare Luxe. Premieres Sunday 9th April at 7:30 p.m. on GH1 TV.
All right, so welcome back to News Tonight.
What's next?
As if you didn't know. We're going to do business with Abena Owusu-Nyameche in a bit, but before then, of course, let's just remind you that this news is also streaming live on GH1TV.com and also on the GH1 TV page on Facebook. Before we join Abena Owusu-Nyameche, let's take a look at some other stories.
Yes. Road crashes, and here 354 people have died in road crashes between January and February this year alone. Now, according to statistics available at the National Road Safety Commission and the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, the figure for the first 2 months of 2017 is significantly higher than that which was recorded in the first quarter of 2016. Authorities lamented the development, attributed it to drunk driving, wrongful overtaking, and excessive speed.
An estimated number of 5,403 vehicles were involved in these road crashes, with Accra and Tema recording the highest figures of 1,300 of such crashes, representing a 18.69% increase over the same period last year. Until the year 2017, Ghana was succeeding in minimizing accidents on its roads. Suddenly, the statistics are becoming more ugly again. In 2016, road crashes reported nationwide for the first quarter amounted to 1,873. However, in 2017, the figure shot up to 1,986 just between January and February alone. In the first quarter of 2016, 2,791 vehicles were involved in road crashes, while January and February 2017 statistics for the same case has risen to 5,043, representing a difference of 2,252. 337 fatalities were filed for the first quarter of 2016, while January and February 2017 recorded 354. 1,775 injuries were recorded for the first quarter of 2016, while 2,065 of injuries have been documented for January and February 2017. Road crashes continue to claim the lives of many Ghanaians daily, a situation largely attributed to drink driving, wrongful overtaking, and speeding beyond the appropriate road limits, among others. The Executive Director of the National Road Safety Commission, Engineer Meobri Yeboah, and the Director in charge of Research and Training at the Motor, Traffic and Transport Department, DSP Alexander Obeng, explained what has accounted for the surge in road crashes for January and February 2017.
Now, the Electricity Company of Ghana has revealed that the destructive activities of illegal miners are affecting its operations in some parts of the eastern region. The company complains the illegal miners sometimes prospect for gold around both high voltage and low voltage poles, making the poles vulnerable to collapse.
The Electricity Company of Ghana explains it is having to spend more in order to diverge voltage lines in the distribution of power. This the ECG blames on the soil incompatible and erosion caused by the activities of illegal mining, which makes it nearly impossible to erect electricity poles. The Eastern Regional Manager of ECG, Engineer Michael Ba, while inspecting two primary substations at Asamankese and Tuhum, reiterated support for the fight against Galamsey.
Yeah, we need this thing to improve upon the quality of life of our customers, and also to enhance the social economy of the communities we are operating in.
The substations, when completed, will solve the challenge and provide reliable power to about 40,000 and 31,000 customers in Asamankese and Suhum, respectively. Experts have predicted that Ghana may import water after 2020 should the current situation continue unabated. The government of Ghana has, however, promised to deal with the menace with a comprehensive approach in order to preserve and conserve the environment from further destruction.
All right, so today I was at the University of Ghana Business School and we're talking about several issues. I'm sure Abna has got all the details coming up.
Definitely. Abna Owusu Nyameche is next with business. Good evening to you, Abna.
Good evening, Nana, and the business segment here on News Tonight is brought to you by NIB. NIB, your business, our business. Visit any NIB branch for more information on the We Pay for Your Dreams promotion. There's more after this.
Business Brief is brought to you by
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
For 2 months, building in this country is too difficult.
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank We Pay for Your Dreams scheme can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB We Pay for Your Dreams scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
In In our first story tonight, former governor of the Bank of Ghana and chairman of Hodak Holdings, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, has expressed concerns about the low penetration of insurance in Ghana. Addressing the 38th Management Day celebration organized by the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Duffuor said less than 2% of Ghana's population are actively covered by insurance, and this is way below the world average.
The University of Ghana Business School Management Day celebrations was instituted in 1970 with the objective of bridging the gap between industry and academia by bringing stakeholders to deliberate on strategies for harnessing the content and delivery of business education. Chairman of Hodak Holdings, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, who spoke on the theme Finance and Insurance for Inclusive National Development, said Ghana had shown a strong representation with the number of financial institutions registered so far. However, he expressed worry about the low level of financial inclusion, adding a lot more people are still unbanked.
There remains a large group of unbanked people in Ghana. The percentage of the population with no insurance policy is even much higher. I sincerely believe that banking and insurance form the two sides of what I refer to as finance coin, so that development ought to be equally matched. Unfortunately, in Ghana, the insurance side of the coin is very weak.
Managing Director of Calbank, Frank Edu Jr., spoke on financing Ghana's development from within, the issues, prospects and challenges. He noted several factors were inimical to Ghana's quest to raise funds.
I'll take you to the presidency now. President Akufo-Addo has charged a new 9-member board of the Ghana Infrastructure Fund to mobilize financial support from the private sector to add up to government's contribution towards the transformation of the country's infrastructure.
Addressing the board members after administering the oaths of office, the president indicated the Ghana Infrastructure Fund is an important vehicle through which governments can leverage on to generate other sources of funding for the infrastructure needs of the country.
The fund is an important vehicle which Ghana can use its 250 million seed funding to leverage capital from other sources for the nation's infrastructure financing and development.
The board is chaired by Professor Christopher Ameyao Ekumfi.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says the unavailability of appropriate, accurate and reliable data for decision-making at all levels of society is responsible for the poor performance of governments in Ghana. Dr. Bawumia says the country must, as a matter of urgency, develop a roadmap aimed at creating sustainable platforms for data generation if our development paradigm is to change.
The Vice President disclosed this when he delivered the keynote address at a forum organized by the Statistical Service on the theme Ghana's Data for Sustainable Development Roadmap Forum. The major thematic areas the forum considered included data communication, managing data ecosystem, evidence-based decision-making, data disaggregation, exploring new types of data, geospatial data, open data, citizen-generated data, and big data. Dr. Bawumia spoke about government plans to roll out a new and security-enhanced national ID card system and a comprehensive digital address system to help integrate all Ghanaians.
These three pillars are making sure that everybody is identified. So this year we are issuing national ID cards for the population. The second pillar is to make sure that where everybody lives is also identified. So we are implementing a digital addressing system this year so that we can identify every property or location.
The two-day Data Management Forum has participants drawn from the National Development Planning Commission, the Ministry of Finance, Ghana's SDG Implementation Committee, Send Ghana, civil society organizations, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, and the Local Government Ministry. Other international participating organizations include the UN, the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data, the Right to Access to Information Commission of Sierra Leone, among others.
That's all we have for you in business right here on News Tonight.
Business Brief was brought to you by
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
And Tony Bebley is standing by with some sports news.
Thank you very much, Abner. Coming up in sports this evening, Accra Hearts of Oak records heavy home win against Bichim United as Kotoko lose to Mediama Sporting Club. More to come.
Sports Brief is brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
In match day 10 of the Ghana Premier League, Accra Hearts of Oak thrashed Bichim United by 4-2, with goals coming from Thomas Abe, Richard Akofi, Fatal Mohammed, Cosmos Dauda. But final goal scorer Cosmos Dauda dedicates his goal to the Phobian fans.
I'm really happy. I've put a smile on my fans and my supporters' faces, and it's work in progress. I'm not going to stop here. I'm assuring them that the best of me is yet to come.
However, coach of Hearts of Oak, Scottish coach Frank Nuttall, is impressed with the side's play and he believes that his charges were the better side.
It was a really good response from the players after a disappointing first half. And result a few days ago. Great credit to the players for that, and they really deserved the 3 points.
But his opposite number of Bichim United, Vincenzo Alberto, believes that, hey, his boys didn't play to his satisfaction.
The first half, 3 goals, it was hard, but my team tried to change the result, and nothing. It's football, you can lose, you can win.
In other results on your screens, some Hearts of Oak winning, Kumasi Academy winning, and so on your screens, Interlice drew 1-1 with Brekum Chelsea at the Elwak Park. Mediama Sporting Club, as I said earlier, they beat Kumasi Academy by 2-1. Ebusia Dwarves, the Crabs of Cape Coast, they drew also 1-1 with the youthful side of Tema, and Borga All-Stars also beating Elimina Sharks by a lone goal, and Wafa beating Ashanti Gold by 3-0, and Liberty Professionals stayed at Summer Park to draw 1-1 with Adriana Stars. And finally, Accra Great Olympics have named Swedish-born trainer Tom Strand as their club's new head coach for an undisclosed number of years. So Tom Strand is leading Great Olympics, Nanaba's Great Olympics.
Accra Great Olympics has named Swedish trainer Tom Strand as the club's new head coach for an undisclosed number of years. The former Mediama SC gaffer takes over from Godwin Atram, who will now occupy the assistant coach position while featuring for the side in the ongoing 2016-2017 Ghana Premier League. The FA Cup winner left Ghana last year, and the bizarre circumstances during the club's campaign in the CAF Confederation Cup. Strand is expected to lead the Dade Boys against Wa All Stars in a rescheduled game on Thursday at the Wa Park. After 9 matches, Olympics is now placed 12th with 10 points, and Strand is expected to survive the club in the Elite League in the remaining matches.
So there was some league match results as well, and Great Olympics getting a new coach in the personnel, Tom Strand, and some EPL matches updates coming on. Chelsea, if you're a Chelsea fan, then you should know Chelsea, they are leading Man City by 2-1. So, and Tottenham Hotspur are also down by a lone goal. So these are the updates from the EPL. And that's all we have for you for sports this evening. Over to you, Kweku and Nana.
Sports Brief was brought to you by Castlegate Real Estate Group.
Thank you very much, Honey. Bebley will now move to Loretta Lesoso. She will take you around the globe, bringing you some international updates right after this break.
Castlegate Estate Ghana Limited has evolved with new management and administration and positioned itself to serve you better. Seize this opportunity to do business with us by reserving a plot this year and start your own construction today. Castlegate Estate also has near complete or shell houses and serviced plots at prime locations on offer for sale at Katamanso, Tema Community 22 and 25 extensions, Dodoa and Prampram at very affordable prices. Our fully serviced plots come with electricity, pipe-borne water and road network. These plots are now selling fast. Just call our new management team and book appointment for free site visits. Castlegate Estate. We make home ownership easier.
For 2 months. Building in this country is too difficult.
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank We Pay for Your Dream scheme can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB We Pay for Your Dream scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
You'd want to know how the weather would look like in the next 24 hours?
The weather is brought to you by Inesfly for a pest-free life.
Enough! Abba! Plenty medical bills. I have tried different methods and it hasn't prevented sin. My son has been in the hospital twice this year because of malaria. I haven't had a good night's sleep in years. But now no more. Since I painted with Inesfly insecticide paint. Copy.
Inesfly insecticide paint kills mosquitoes dead for up to 2 years. It is a quality paint, a healthier option, and it's totally safe for humans and pets.
Take my word for it. Paint malaria out. Use Inesfly insecticide paint now.
Inesfly for a pest-free life.
Welcome back. Time now to have a look at what's making headlines across the world. And tonight we start off in Nigeria. Following the high rate of inflation and the recession rocking the economy, President Muhammadu Buhari has launched the Nigeria Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, that's the ERGP. He launched the plan to reinvigorate Nigeria's stalled economy. Now, the launch was attended by all cabinet members as well as top government functionaries. The president says the ERGP focuses on agriculture with a view to ensuring adequate food security as well as energy, industrialization and social investment. He says the ERGP is an ambitious plan that seeks to achieve a 7% economic growth rate by the year 2020. Not everyone is convinced, of course, and some Nigerians have been tweeting their comments under the hashtag NERGP hashtag. Now, we just have to have a look at some of the few tweets tweets from some of the Nigerians here. And as you can see, one of them says, as it stands, the ERGP doesn't excite the Nigerians, and we hope for follow-through this time, hashtag NERGP. And then another Nigerian citizen say, I hope that the National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan doesn't end up as another well-prepared document meant for the shelves. And then we've got an interesting tweet there from the Deputy President responding to some of the Nigerians, saying that Nigerians are some of the smartest people on the face of the earth. Everywhere we go, we excel quickly, innovate, and lead the pack. And we hope that his tweets did manage to affirm Nigerians that just as we have taken the world by storm in music, entertainment, and film, we will take over the digital space with ideas and resourcefulness. Yes, that's some of the twists we gathered there from today's events in Nigeria. Now, moving on to the United States, President Donald Trump there has removed his senior strategist, Steve Bannon. Those are the breaking news that came in earlier on from the U.S. He has been removed from the U.S. National Security Council, the NSC. The appointment in January raised fears that the gathering of the U.S. intelligence chiefs could become politicized. The aide said Mr. Bannon was only given a seat on the NSC to keep an eye on a National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn, who was fired in February. Now, the NSC is the main group advising the president on national security and foreign affairs. Critics have branded Mr. Bannon, who once managed Breitbart News, by the way, a right-wing outlet accused of xenophobia, as a white nationalist. And finally, wrapping up in Turkey, where German intelligence expert Eric Schmidt-Einbom has said Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and not the faith-based Gülen movement was behind a failed coup attempt in Turkey on July 15th. 2016. This is based on intelligence reports from the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, and the German Federal Intelligence Service. What this new information reveals is that, all in all, the military coup attempt on July 15th that killed over 240 people and wounded more than 1,000 others was a staged coup. Well, that's one of the international controversies, and that's all the stories we have on our international news tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Over to you, Kweku and Nana.
Many thanks. Charlotte Lerato Lesoso with the international news. All right, before we take you, well, you didn't believe I was coming in with a Charlotte.
You mentioned it with so much passion.
She hates it. The only time she loved her name was when she met the chairperson of the Electoral Commission,
Okay,
Mrs. Charlotte. And then she was so proud she was christened Charlotte.
Well, Charlotte, enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, so
Izone?
Yes, we're taking a look at our top stories, and then we can make way for State of Affairs. Of course, we'll be talking to Dr. Benjamin Kumbo. Now, here are the headlines once again. Former Defense Minister Dr. Benjamin Kumbo calls for early Congress in the opposition NDC, blaming the party's electoral defeat on perceived corruption.
You can find so many government officials who knew clearly that if nothing was done about those laws, we could lose the elections. So there were already indications, and you see the priority that government put on it.
Food poisoning that killed the Kumasi Academy students. It was meningitis. We delved in this evening, give you all the updates that you wanted on that particular development, but we know now it is meningitis.
Also, 354 people died in road accidents in the first 2 months of the year. That figure is comparatively higher than the first quarter of 2016. Well, tonight we brought you updates from our world of business, and insurance penetration is still not encouraging. Dr. Kobna Dufo touched on it. And in international news, Nigeria has launched the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan aimed at bringing Africa's most populous nation out of recession. That launch was performed by the President, Muhammadu Buhari.
Many thanks for staying with us. My name is Kweku Temin.
And mine is Nana Abba Anamwa. Thank you so much for your time. We've got State of Affairs coming up shortly. Dr. Benjamin Kumbo is our guest.
Vitarich formula has been stolen. Get it back at all costs. Great tasting cowbell with Vitarich has the 28 vitamins and minerals you need to be at the top of your game. Delicious, nutritious cowbell with Vitarich, our milk.
No matter what it is you're going through, I have my problems, you have yours. No matter how bad things are, it doesn't warrant you wanting to kill yourself. God gave you something unique. He gave you your life. No matter what it is, you can go through it. No point trying to take your life. I stand against suicide. My name is Sammy Forson and I choose life.
Choose Life is a GHOne TV initiative promoting the value of life. It's 6 a.m. coming to you live from the Platinum Heights.
Welcome to your award-winning GH Today.
Join your TV royals every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. as they take you through the world of politics.
Today, when you cook rice in my unless you add the sakabo to it, I won't eat.
You are ready for the sakabo?
Yeah, the sakabo.
Well, look at the billboards all around. Quantify them, cost them, and you reach a point where you see money swine.
Lifestyle.
Hearts are beautiful and classic on gentlemen.
Sports.
He's 1-on-2. It is GHOne. He's in the area. He scores!
The World Cup is a big stage. Why would he not talk about the AFCON 27? No. You see, people cannot take Ghanaians for a ride.
News Extra.
My name is AJ Sapon, and it is time to bring you NS.
Entertainment. GH Today.
That's awesome.
What is your personal vision for the company?
We should be a very significant player in the industry, known as the real face of insurance.
I take my moments when they come. I'm trying to get into a more rounded business leader.
Can I be the president of Ghana? No, I can't. I don't have what it takes to be the president of Ghana.
Oh, no, I think you do.
That's your opinion, Akwesi. Thanks for the compliment.
My name is Akwesi Safo Kantanka. Join me right here at Fiesta Residences Boutique Hotel and Apartments as I ask the tough questions.
Change Managers with Akwesi, Women to Watch. A compelling conversation with women who are defining the future.
It's 6 a.m. coming to you live from the Platinum Heights.
Welcome to your award-winning GH Today.
Join your TV royals every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. as they take you through the world of politics.
Today, when you cook rice in my unless you add the sakabo to it, I won't eat.
You are ready for the sakabo?
Yeah, the sakabo.
Well, look at the billboards all around. Quantify them, cost them, and you reach a point where you see money swine.
Lifestyle.
Hearts are beautiful and classic on gentlemen.
Sports.
He's 1-on-2. It is GHOne. He's in the area. He scores!
The World Cup is a big stage. Why would he not talk about the AFCON 27? No. You see, people cannot take Ghanaians for a ride.
News Extra.
My name is AJ Sapon, and it is time to bring you NS.
Entertainment. GH Today.
That's awesome.
It is often said that women don't like sports. Well, there is some truth to that. But it doesn't stop women from cheering and jeering when players are on the field. My name is Nana Banamwa, and I bring you cheers with a bevy of articulate, beautiful, intelligent, and very entertaining ladies. We'll be talking through all the sports, from the most beautiful goal to the best player and the worst player. It is all on Cheers on this channel every Saturday morning.
Cheers is brought to you by Styler by Gandor Cosmetics, Lifestyle Gallery, and Fifi Beauty Center.
Cheers, showing this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. only on GHOne TV.
State of Affairs is proudly brought to you by Cowbell Coffee.
Hello, good evening. This is State of Affairs on GHOne TV, and State of Affairs, of course, is across all social media networks, so you can always join our discussion using the hashtag State of Affairs across every platform that you so wish to do. Tonight we are talking about the NDC. The cracks in the NDC deepening. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Koku Anyidoho, the Deputy General Secretary of the party, and of course what he told us was that of course there are problems in the party, but they were waiting for a report as to why the party registered such humiliating defeat at the 2016 elections. Tonight, I'm playing host to the former Minister of Defense, Dr. Benjamin Kumbo. Thank you so much for joining us
You're welcome,
this evening. Now, there is a press statement from a group that calls itself Dr. Benjamin Kumbo's cadres. You know of this group?
No, that's particularly the impression that has been wrongly peddled, and I guess it was basically a clerical issue. There is an association of cadres which has been on for so many years. It has even started as June 4th movement. It went round till constitutional rule, of which I am a member. Perhaps I'll be proud to say a leading member. This statement is attributable to them. What is happening is that a number of us, I think about 4 or 5, were contacted. And now we asked to see the draft of the statement because of the concerns that were coming up. We read through the draft. We thought it was okay. So we said we will be able to speak to it. Just to also present the cadre front that is an integral wing of the NDC party in terms of how they have perceived things and how they perceive the way forward, particularly in the context of not a too noble defeat that we had in this recent elections.
Were you shocked?
I would not be shocked, but I'm sure most of us were shocked.
Did you see it coming?
Yeah, it was possible that you could see that defeat was coming. Because anybody who has been around 1999, 2000, you could see a symmetry between the developments that were taking place, particularly a year and a half in the run-up to the elections. And so,
Developments such as?
I am sometimes a pessimist, let me say so, so that if I'm proved wrong, then everybody benefits. But I would not be too complacent. And I spent a lot of my quiet time doing some analysis. And I must say at that time I was a bit frightened about the parallels and similarities of 1999 and 2000, which eventually led to our electoral defeat at that time. So yes, there was cause for worry at that particular time.
What were some of these things that you were seeing that gave credence to your suspicion?
Oh, they were internal and external. The external environment, you don't always control it. Externally, we had gone into an IMF package, which with the consequences of very, very high level austerity. And the austerity hit directly at our constituency, which I always refer to as the social, within the context of social democracy. There is no way that with the global unemployment, particularly youth unemployment that you have in this country, that it will not become an election issue. in the peculiar case of Ghana, I saw the percentages of graduate unemployment reach an astronomical level, to the extent that an association of unemployed graduates had to be formed to articulate these concerns. We have never had this type of association before, and that clearly mirrors what exactly was going on in the country. And this external environment put us in a very difficult situation as against the onslaught that was unleashed by our political opponents in the NPP. That for me was a very central one. There were many more other things, but they all fed into the package that we went into.
So you thought it was the timing for going into this IMF plan was wrong in an election year?
Definitely. There is no way you can run austerity in this part of the world of an emerging economy in which hardship cannot be wished away. And because you are an incumbent, it becomes difficult. You cannot say, oh, we believe that as we take these major steps, these are going to be the outcome. Once you present yourself like that, they'll say, well, you are sitting on the seat, fix it. And already you have found sandbagged within the confines of these austerity measures. And it becomes easier for your opponents. They simply look at it, and because they have no responsibility at the time, and make a very clear statement, we will do this. And they make it very clear. So there's no attempt at rationalizing the state of the economy and how it's a global and a regional phenomena. They were in a relative comfort zone. Now you require some level of analysis, which leads me to the other ideological external aspect, which is our ideological commitment. It became clear that most people who were external to the NDC, but perhaps politically active, both in and outside this country, kept asking very fundamental questions. What is the difference between the NDC and the MPP as it stands? There were even very clear and ironical situation, and that is also because of the way we handled something like the free senior high school. A social democratic party has the society as its reference point, particularly the socially excluded. So it should not lie in the mouth of a social democrat to be complaining that perhaps a non-social democratic party was bringing free education at any level. In fact,
so the communication was wrong.
Yes, the commitment of a social democrat, who should be even a very high aspiration, that education ought to be free for everybody at any level in this country. That should be our ideal. And that for me. So I can give you a very typical scenario, and you will look at it and see how the communication gap came. One, if you had somebody, now let me give you the political one.
Okay.
If you see during the nationalist phase of the struggle, you had some part of those nationalists who said, we wanted independence at the shortest possible time. Kwame Nkrumah said, we want independence now. So who would you follow if you were caught up in that situation? So we would try to rationalize that, you see, because of A, because of B, because of this could not be done. Their response was a simple and straightforward one.
So it's
we will do it.
Free education, and then the NDC said it has to be progressive.
Precisely.
So the communication was wrong.
Yes, and the way the message was couched. In fact, there were times that you even felt the NDC, some of our utterances were like a free denial of people to free education. And that was really not the intention. Progressive realization of the right to education has been there in the United Nations rules and protocols and things like that. But when you want to domesticate it, it has to be situated within a particular social context. And so the message would have to be, look, we are committed to free education even up to the university level. And the reading of the constitutional provision is a very catchy one, particularly when you compare it to the United Nations Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, where they talk about fundamental education. Then when you translate it to Ghana, and you are also trying to articulate the right to education, you have a challenge there. We don't have that right fundamental in our constitution. So what level of education is fundamental for it to be free? It could well include senior high school, depending on the level of development of the country. So the free should not only be the one that's dealing with the FQ, which meant that universality for all. So our economic situation in which we found ourselves made it difficult for us to be able to talk about a free education.
Did you bring their attention to this
We
issue?
have debated these matters, but it's not all the time that these issues need to go to the public domain. We are now at a point, and excuse me if ladies will be offended, but in my area, there's a saying that on the day of delivery, the lady has no shame any longer. And that is normally where we have reached now is a very critical point in which we have to bring back all these issues that would have been discussed in little caucuses, would have been discussed even at some levels of government into the public domain so that we create a refocusing in terms of how we should
Now, you were an integral part of that government, of the former administration.
Yeah.
And you said that you saw these, you probably saw the defeats coming because of how things were panning out every day in the country. Did you speak to the president about it? Did you draw his attention to it?
Well, the communication while you are in government is different from when you are out of government.
Right.
But there have been opportunities in which these discussions have been held. I don't want to be quoted because I want to leave that question and answer ambivalent.
Okay.
But
I wonder why.
Yes, there were discussions because you would know that when you are in cabinet, there are confidentialities which stay with you for quite a long time. But I can say for sure that the challenges had not been articulated and the possible fear of we losing the elections were not articulated or seen by one person. There are many NDC people. Anytime you met, they say, hey, you people watch it. And I can give you an example. You can find so many government officials who knew clearly that if nothing was done about doomstalk, we could lose the elections. So there were already indications. And you see the priority that government put on it because it's a sector that cuts across so many issues. Yes, these matters have been discussed. Some of them solutions have been found to them. But I'm talking about a time frame within which you could address some of these problems that were systemic. Some of them were structural.
Did corruption come up in your conversations?
Definitely, corruption had always come up at almost every point in time because as colleagues who were ministers, and I have had an opportunity at a meeting with the diplomatic corps, and I drew their attention to the level of unfairness of this corruption because anybody who is corrupt has a name. So the clean brush that you use to apply to government, and for that matter, anybody associated with government was wrong. I would be very happy for somebody to would say, Minister A, B, C, D, Z are corrupt. This is the evidence. You see, when the conversation is at that level, the person, apart from not being sincere in terms of the allegation, is also giving the people he's accusing the opportunity to take whatever remedies that are available to them. So we were caught up in this situation. The second thing that I did draw attention to was the fact that it becomes difficult for you to say whether there was corruption or there wasn't. But as a matter of fact, the perception of corruption was very high in this country. Whether that perception translated into the truth or not is another matter. You will not have the empirical evidence. But wherever you went, this stigma or mud that was thrown at the government in terms of perceived corruption was very high. And it permeated the entire system. And any colleague you asked, everybody was asking this question about how we came to inherit this whole notion of being the most corrupt government since Ghana's independence started. So yes, we've been having exchanges on a number of these issues.
Okay, I want to go back to the press statement from the cadres. There's a part here that talks about the 2016 election campaign and how the NDC displayed, or your campaign was characterized by flamboyant rallies full of opulence and fanfare, devoid of any political or ideological substance that did not resonate with the actual people on the ground. It goes on to say that the structures of the NDC at the national, regional and constituency levels refused to work at the grassroots. The branch executives were virtually sidelined when logistics and funds were provided from the higher levels. Members at the branch level were frustrated and neglected. The NDC campaign in 2016 neither energized the base nor encouraged new people to join the party.
Yes. These, I'm sure, eventually will be concerns that you find that have been expressed daily. In fact, believe one of the contexts for the cadres coming out was they had sent a message to the cadre following that they didn't want them to become lone wolves, and each one speaking out of turn. If anybody had any concern as a cadre, the person should forward it to the secretariat, and they'll collate it into something more systematic and then present out there, so that no individual, cadre should just be trusted with a microphone and he's coming out to talk about what might just be highly subjective or idiosyncratic. So some of these statements that you see kept recurring region after region as we try to compile them. And that is why it did come in the way in which it came. Now, this is how they look at it. So it's no more a question of whether they are right or wrong, but this is the perception that they have.
But do you think they are right?
To some aspects, we have had these discussions. We who were in government, including myself, we've been accused of arrogance, and you don't really give access to people in government. They don't seem to see or feel part of the NDC power that we had. These things have come up from time to time. For instance, if we look at one of the things that people perhaps were not conscious about, if you have the economy that is screaming, and the clarion call is that we want money in our pocket, this is a euphemism for saying that we think hardship. Of course, literally speaking, the president cannot go around with money in bags and fill people's pockets, but they are simply registering a sentiment that things are hard. And this was not limited to only NDC members or people in the country. The economic brand was equally felt by some NDC people, and perhaps doubly because the assumption in these emerging economies and young democracies is that the winner takes all. And they have become the winners, and they seem to see nothing that they are taking. And you see that these things increase as we're getting to the elections. And people were like, we are now in some injury time. When will it also be well with my soul? And people were asking these questions quite genuinely. So you will see that within that economic framework, and your ministers and appointees being accused of corruption. And the accusation of corruption was not just the type of thing you throw away. So the explanation is that the fact that you can't pay your students' school fees, pedestrian as it is because the ministers and the government have chopped all the money. Then come your billboards.
Huge.
Yes. You see, the imaging is more important than words. Once you are running an austerity framework, and suddenly when you get to the point of wanting to get power back, they are beginning to see things they might not even know who donated it, they might not even know who supported it, how much it is cost. But the mere imagery that such a billboard projects. I happen to have been in the Volta region, and I was particularly happy that that particular issue came up. And perhaps in a very dispassionate way, people should look at it. That the Kumasi Central Market, in terms of its completion, was put in the center of who? To showcase the achievements of the government. Meanwhile, the host market was at its foundation. So the question that you ask is that, did you want to get voters from the Volta region, or you wanted to attract people from the Ashanti region who were in the Volta region that their market was complete? It might be inadvertent. But do you see the scenario that it paints? So is it accidental that our World Bank, the statistics show clearly that the voter turnout was not as large as it has been? Why? And these for me are some of the issues when we are talking about a rigorous, a bit more sophisticated way of communicating with people, even through images.
But the NDC, for you in the NDC, you are more experienced at winning elections than any party in this country. Yes. You have been in power the longest time. So why did the party make these mistakes? You talk about showcasing the Kumasi Central Market in the Volta region. Why would the communications team, the election team, the campaign team of the NDC commit such an error?
Well, when you lose elections, it might be seen as an error. If we had won,
it would have been a success
story.
So
that situation today, because we have lost, has no father. But I'm sure if we had won, the number of people who would have been competing with each other to win the glory as the person being responsible for that imaging, you'll be alarmed about the number of people who will do that. But this is a situation that, difficult as it is, we are not apportioning blame to misjudgment. Every human being is fallible. But when you put a campaign team together, you see, when I take this country...
Did you think the campaign team was solid enough to win the election?
In fact, it is not the individual personalities in a campaign team that determines. It is the soft campaign team. The individuals are the hard campaign team.
Okay.
That is the messages that they have to carry.
So did they have a message?
Both verbal and yes, there were quite a number of messages. But again, these messages need to be done in its context. And so the relevance of context in sequencing, which is timing or when these messages come up, become important. For instance, there are people who have raised the issue that you send a green book to Bumpurugu. As part of the campaign, you go to tell the people that these are the achievements that we have been able to make. And the village eye opener looks at it and they say, oh, that's nice. Then you leave and they say, eh. So it is Accra people who are fit to receive these things. And our classroom block is in a dilapidated state. Have you seen what you have done? And infrastructure has its challenges in terms of how it wins elections. And it has been known years on. And anybody who has followed the political debate, these things sit in situ. They don't move. And I can tell you that about getting to 2/3 of your population will not have moved within the election period to these locations with this infrastructure, beyond those that are nearer them. So if you even did a regional one, in which you showcase what was done by the government, and a lot was done, in every region in its context. In fact, we needed about 10 green books, each specific, and people can relate to it.
So the general one was not enough?
It could not be enough, and it could not, because these infrastructure are in situ, they are fixed and don't move around for people to encounter them. They become alien art to people.
But the president followed it up with accounting to the people.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You see, there is always the hard side of something and the soft side. And I can tell you again, the president has said so many of these things time and time again. Why is it that we still lost despite that? That's the fundamental question. It meant that the people either didn't believe us or the message didn't go down in the context in which they wanted to receive it. And when I talk about the soft side of infrastructure, that is what you can market. And that's what the president was trying to do. You see, Rich Hospital, beautiful edifice, beamed on the television cameras as our achievement. A social democratic party doesn't show physical inert objects. You must link it to how that has reduced or improved the health condition of the people, and possibly project how it can do that in the future. The fiscal infrastructure is just what is housing well-being and healthcare. Whether it is beautiful or it's not beautiful, that is not the issue. Whether it is modern or it's not modern. You can even have a touch house where people can go and get quality health service. And you can also have a brilliant, magnificent edifice in which the quality of service will be poor. And so the political spin-offs that one could gain from these things was very limited.
Was the president taking advice? Or if you advised him, was he listening to the old guns in the party like you?
I don't think any president or any leader will not seek advice. Certainly, I'm sure the president will seek advice. But since I'm not him, I cannot ask. But I know as a matter of state practice that when challenges come, the leader...
Did you ever offer him any advice?
Well, the situation, I can see where you are getting to.
Oh, I'm not getting anywhere.
What we do basically is that we do have chats. For instance, you must know the sector in which you belong. I belong to the security sector. And yes, when there were challenges with the security sector, I drew his attention. The party is the one dealing with the political wing, of which he's the leader. And the party has its structures. And the party was also under an obligation to advise the president from the political angle. And I have no reason to doubt that this was not done.
I'm asking you this because some of your colleagues have said that it was very difficult getting access to the president. Dr. Kwabeneje, your former chairman, says that it was very difficult at some point to even put a phone call through to the president. The Honorable Alban Bagwin has said something similar in the past. Yeah. Did you feel that way?
You see, that is an issue that you need to deal with. My mother had complained about her inability to get access to me, even as a minister. So you are dealing with degrees and numbers. I've had many good friends that I have lost because they have known me as a meticulous person who would pick my phone at the first call. So these are challenges of office. But why I do not want us to dwell on some aspects of this, whether the president gave you access or he didn't give you access. Where do we stand today? We have lost elections and we are looking for the way forward. If you can recraft your lack of access to the president within the context of reorganization, then people will take it up and they will debate it. But I don't believe in the situation of crying over spilled milk. And I think that is significant. And I guess that you might have the opportunity one day to speak to His Excellency, the former president.
I will.
And you should put this question directly to
I
him.
will. When people say that the president was surrounded by very young men who knew next to nothing about winning an election, what do you say to them?
Well, that might be their perception. And I do not think that reality is in black and white, absolute. Reality is in shades of gray. In the black, there are white spots. And in the white, there are black spots. So it is not just the mathematical, the quantum of your number of years of life that will indicate whether you are experienced or knowledgeable or not. Experience is not gathered, or it's not directly a relationship of age. And again, if I give you one of my village stories, when the very old men insist that they have to be acknowledged in a particular context, they always would say it, and the same old men say that, well, a log can lie in a pond for thousands of years, and the new crocodiles will be hatched within a week, and the crocodiles would explore the entire length and breadth of the pond, and the log continues to lie there. Between this young crocodile exploring and the pond that is physically in the water for how many years, only God knows, whose knowledge of the pond would you respect? So it's the quality. Yes, so I don't see that. Again, you see, a social democratic party, we should not reduce the bar of the debate to this type of level. I did not hear the former chairman, Dr. Kwabeneje, myself. And why I don't comment on these things is that when I listen to somebody, I can talk about the context, I can talk about the question that he was asked, and how the press chose which aspect of it will be media friendly or would sell, and they put it out. So that for me is significant. But the issue about age is not one that is very fundamental. If you are a fool, you can be 1,000 years, you remain one. Particularly if you are the type of fool that has no capacity to learn. You have that problem. If you are even 15, 18 years old, and depending on your experiences of growing up to that young age, you might know what an 80-year-old man will not know. But more significantly, there is no one human being in this world that knows everything. So you are bound to have shortcomings, and we should not attribute those shortcomings to the age of the people. Because if the youth really pick up this thing, we would have a problem. Because the question, what the youth is questioning is that because politics is a generational thing, development is a generational, we don't want anybody to take decisions and leave a negative legacy for us to come and deal with. So there are as much stakeholders today as there would be tomorrow.
Do you feel that your founder could have been used effectively in the 2016 campaigning period?
Yeah, you see, there is something about, I keep calling it a Jerry John Rawlings mongering, or a Jerry John Rawlings scare, in which nobody is talking about him as the founder of the party, and the Constitution says it's based on his vision. Whether that is controversial or it's not controversial. But one of my village wisdom, again, is that any river that has no respect for its source will dry up. So there's a reason why you keep a chain and a conveyor belt from the younger generation to those in the middle, to the older ones, and perhaps to those visions in which that particular institution or stream emerged. And successfully won, I think, about 4 out of the 6 elections that we've held in this country. This was a party that was hardly known. We've all known the UP and CPP tradition. So you cannot explain to me that the founder is so naive that he could have led a party that had never been tested on the ground and won elections at particularly interesting margins that we are struggling today. And then today he should not be seen as somebody that should not have a say. And I have had the opportunity of telling him quite clearly that where this ship is going, he has to step in and try to guide all of us. Because he will not want to be a party chairman, he will not want to be a presidential candidate, he will not want to hold any office in the party. So he's in a better suited situation to be able to indicate to the party that I think from my years of experience,
will they listen to him?
This is what they go.
Will the party listen to him?
Well, but he would have performed his responsibility. And I believe he has done that. When we went to Cape Coast, you could hear the statement that he made, that we're at the precipice. And that you don't play people's games because you can't win. You set up your own game and play it according to your rules. And that at the disengagement from our values, till where we are in constitutional democracy, which seems at every stage of a victory to be shifting away from that original vision.
Was his
that
advice
brought us
taken?
together.
Do you think that advice was taken at all?
Well, I've had 1 or 2 leading members of the party draw attention to that statement that he made. But I cannot tell because I was not the one to take that advice. Because since I entered government or have been politically active, I've been clear in my mind that the reason why I chose to join the NDC and not any other political party is because it was likely to espouse social development within a context that approximates my ideology, even if it's not 100%. So it's like a second best. And if we kept commitment to the tenets of social democracy, we will not be where we are now. And you see, it's like a rigmarole. You see, your economy gets difficult. They accuse your government of corruption. That perception of corruption deepens down. It even engulfs some of your people within your party. And the reason why your party would also believe those things is because they have been made to believe that the people who are appointed are stealing money and are becoming very comfortable and they are suffering. When you have all these things together, it affects it. You see international media and they are talking about NDC corruption. You see local media and if it was even consciously done, what are the scientific tools for a social democratic party to deploy at that particular time to be able to ward off these attacks? You are not just going because I accuse you of being a thief and you say I'm not a thief. That is not the issue. We should have been the ones to first of all cut off these lies from getting as low as to our grassroots. To the extent, something I've never seen in NDC, that you could not get somebody to put up flags 1 kilometer without the person expecting a reward.
But they thought you were all too rich.
Precisely. That is the perception that was out there. And so they watch how these things are done. They watch individual campaigns that are waged. And you begin to see that they say, look, we can see a difference between them. Even the billboards of the NDC are bigger than the NPP when they were in power. So these are real hard situations that we need to deal with. There are no more situations that you can sweep under the carpet.
All right, let's take a break. This is State of Affairs. I'm here with Dr. Benjamin Kombo, the former defense minister. Do stay with us.
A hero of change is the one who lends a helping hand.
The one who gives a second chance at life.
The one who teaches many to be independent and self-sufficient.
The one who provides a better education for the community.
and gives many hope for the future.
The one who puts a smile on many faces.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
Join us as we bring you stories of Ghanaians making a positive change in our society by impacting the lives of others in the MTN Heroes of Change Season 3. Sunday at 7 p.m. on GHOne. MTN Heroes of Change.
I am a legend. He is a legend.
And he is a legend.
And he is a legend.
I am a legend.
We are legends.
In the midst of legends, I am the host. My understanding of the game is better enhanced as we speak football on GH1 television. Catch us every Friday for 90 minutes of fun-filled discussions right here on this network.
Runway 19 right, clear for takeoff.
There will never be another night like this in 2017. A taste of glitz, glam, style, and the very best in showmanship.
The best songs in GH, the hottest and most commanding acts, the speeches, the fashion, and all the razzmatazz roll into one night of unforgettable entertainment. The Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, Saturday 8th April at the Conference Center. It's an all-star cast night with Stoneball, Sarkodie, Manifest, Kofi Kinata, Medical, Nasi, Becca, Adena, Aquabwa, plus Rocktown from Nigeria. Tickets selling now at 150 Ghana Cedis standard and 200 Ghana Cedis premium.
From Vodafone offices in Osu, Accra Mall, X-Men, and Charter House.
For VIP tickets, please call 050-129-0939. The 18th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, celebrating 60 years of GH music with support from Das Capital, GH1 TV, and proudly brought to you by
Vodafone. Power to you.
Everybody drink our coffee, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, your smile will bring a sunshine day. Drink up the celebration, we're together, join your hands in harmony. Everybody, do what you're doing. Smile and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, start every day with delicious, nutritious Cowbell coffee and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, drink our coffee. Smile and have a sunshine day. Woo!
Hi, I'm Ajete Anand. Well, sometimes life pushes us to the very edge. And just when it seems like there's no way out, just hold on. Choose right. Stay alive. Choose life.
Choose Life is a GH1 TV initiative promoting the value of life.
A hero of change is the one who lends a helping hand.
The one who gives a second chance at life.
The one who teaches many to be independent and self-sufficient.
The one who provides a better education for the community and gives many hope for the future.
The one who puts a smile on many faces.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
Join us as we bring you stories of Ghanaians making a positive change in our society by impacting the lives of others in the MTN Heroes of Change Season 3. Sunday at 7 p.m. on GH1. MTN Heroes of Change.
I am a legend. He is a legend.
And he is a legend.
And he is a legend.
I am a legend.
We are legends. In the midst of legends, I am the host. My understanding of the game is better enhanced as we speak football on GHOne television. Catch us every Friday for 90 minutes of fun-filled discussions right here on this network.
Everybody drink our coffee, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, your smile will bring a sunshine day. Drink up the celebration, we're together, join your hands in harmony. Everybody, do what you're doing. Smile and have a sunshine day.
Everybody start every day with delicious, nutritious cowbell coffee and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, drink our coffee. Smile and have a sunshine day. Woo!
All right, you're welcome back to State of Affairs on GHOne TV and also streaming on GHOneTV.com and on Facebook at GHOneTV.com, GHOne TV's page on Facebook. That's where we are. And I'm in the studio tonight with Dr. Benjamin Kumbo. He's a former Minister for Defense. And I now want to talk about the 2020 elections. And in talking about the 2020 elections, there's a bit from the cadres release here that says that it is in the interest of the leaders of the party to stop the infantile pontification now as to who can lead the party. I spoke to the national organizer of the party a couple of weeks ago, Kofi Adams, and he says that definitely it should be JM. I also spoke to Kojo Chumbuafo. He says definitely John Mahama for 2020. Is that a discussion we should be having now?
Well, basically,
or the party should be having now.
That is precisely, anyway, anybody is entitled to his opinion and who are his preferred candidates.
Okay.
But we should not allow candidature that would be the tail end to befork the difficult task of starting to build from the grassroots. And that for me is significant. Because in society, a lot can be achieved if it doesn't matter who gets the glory. So if you start a project with a glory, you are likely not to be able to achieve that project. That is why I believe that issue particularly is one that is not relevant now for us to be seen discussion. As has been said time and time again, if you have a sick horse and you do not care it, putting it in a race doesn't make any difference. But the object of 2020 is that you intend to win. I thought people would be talking about how our grassroots could be galvanized, move to the constituency, and how the internal attrition and challenges and difficulties among us.
Are there cracks in the party at the moment?
I won't say there are cracks. What I can say is that you have a rainbow type of situation in which there are multiple colors. But whether cracks have actually taken place in that, I don't think I'll present it in such a gloomy way.
The party is not a broken car, as Gabra says.
All is not well with the party, because if all was well, we wouldn't have gone through this defeat. That is the bottom line. So I do not want us to.
So it's Spear's description, a fair description, a broken car. The
unfortunately, he did not discuss this description with me, and I would not know what went.
But how would you describe the party at the moment?
I would say it is a party that is facing challenges. Some of the challenges are known. Some of the challenges have befallen other parties and they have overcome them. But some of the challenges are peculiarly NDC challenges. And so we must look at all these challenges and be able to see how we can put it together.
Do you think that the Kwesi Botwe report will bring some closure to the grassroots especially?
No, I think what it will do is, one, to rather open up a number of the conversation pathways. Because from the approach I have seen so far and how things are going, it will now be able, its usefulness will be to show levels of discontent and internal misunderstandings so that you now know how you target the solution. There are times in which people are sent as mediators and they go and come back being part of the conflict. So you must get this thing right, that in